Hello guys, and welcome back to another Python for Beginners video. And in this video we're going to talk about something that you might use when you are taking input from the user. So here I've created a program that allows you to, it's kind of like a simple calculator, and now if you run it, it just asks you for a number. You just type a number and then you type another number, and it's just going to add it, and it's going to find the modulus of them together. And you can change the operator in this code. Now if you want to look on how to make this calculator, simple calculator, you can go back to the previous video because the previous video is teaching on how to make a calculator using simple math in Python. And in this video I'm gonna show you how to make how to kind of make this calculator much better, or like much better, using something called if statements. So the if statement is kind of like a condition. So it says if the condition is maybe equal to something or is true. So here you can use Boolean in the if statements. So you can say like, for example, here you don't want maybe the number to go up like or above 10. So you can use an if statement. So here's the syntax. So if, and then you're gonna type the condition. So the conditions is like mostly has like Boolean in it, like equals and these kind of stuff. So we want the num1 and num2 not to raise above, say, like 100. So you can do like if, then num1 and now and could be typed with two ands. Num2 are less than, or sorry, greater than 100, and then we're gonna use a colon like this. See the error? Okay, so just like that, and then so now I've figured the error that was there. So we can't like say num1 and num2 is greater than 100. We can say num1 is greater if num1 is greater than 100, and num2 is greater than 100. Now this is right, hopefully. Okay, now I think I'm like a bit confused with this, but we should actually type the word and in this. Yeah, because like sometimes you should do this in some more other languages, but anyways, we can continue. So if num1 is greater than 100 and num2 is greater than 100 also, then we're gonna print out unable to, sorry, quotation marks. So maybe unable to solve problem, maybe. Yeah. And then we'll put that over here in an else. So there's also some more kind of parts to the if statements, not like only if. There's also a part called else. So if a condition is true, then we're gonna do something. But if it's not true, then we're gonna do another thing. So you can leave it blank, just like this, if, and you can also like type else if you want like a code to run only if the condition is not true. And then we're gonna insert that in. Don't forget the colon here. And now it will print the answer only if the only if number 1 and number 2 is greater than 100. So let's try and input now some valid numbers like 9 and 8. It will add them fine. Now let's try and input something higher, like about something like this, and then like 0. it will also work here, but yeah, it will also work. So now let's run it again and see. So we've got number 1 should be higher than 100, and then number 2 should be higher than 100, and then it's gonna print out unable to solve problem, and the code will stop. Now we can change that so that if one of the numbers is 100, then it's it. You can't make anything, and so we do that by the OR operator. So this one basically takes if like one of them is true, or like if one of them is actually greater than 100 and not both of them. So now if you run it, let's try and input something valid like 9 and 7. It still works. If you run again, try and input 90 and this time 800, it will say unable to solve problem, as you can see. And then if I try on the first one, input invalid, then it's gonna say unable to solve problem again, because this one is greater than 100. Now, there is another operator which is a NOT operator which flips things, but we're gonna actually talk about this later. So, now we know that there are operators for, like the conditions should have an operator, or if we say like maybe, we can also do, so just for an example, we can do like maybe if num1 is equal to num2. Now we can't just type an equal like this because this is an assignment equal. You assign a variable to something, this is the equal you use. Now if you want to make it as a condition or like a boolean, then you should type 2 equals, just like this. And now it won't run until like num1 and num2 are equal. So if you like type 0 and then like 9, it will like here print unable to solve only if it's equal, but if it's not, then it's just gonna run. So like 0 and 0, unable to solve problem. Now this was just an example, but yeah, there's also some more operators like the greater than equal maybe. So this what basically does is when number 1 or the first input is greater or equal to number 2. So let's try that. So let's say that number 1 is 9 and number 2 is 8. It's unable to solve the problem. And now if we try and say 9 and 9, it's still unable to solve the problem because it's greater than or equal. Now you can also do this with the less than. So if you have like a number less than number 2, then it's not gonna work. And also if you have them equal to each other, it's not gonna work. So these are like the same things, but it just adds another bit here, which is the equal. So even if they're equal, then this is gonna run properly. Now how about like if you want to do the same code like we did earlier. So let's go back to the original code, which is if num2 equals 100 or num2 greater than 100. What if you want to break it up so that if one of them like is 100, but if you like want to break it up just as an example. Now sometimes you would use this, but not to break it up really. But yeah, so to do this, there's also another part of the if statement which is called the elif. So type elif and then a colon. This really takes a condition. It's not like the else. So you could type here if num1 equals 100, and you can remove the or, just like that, and then you could take this part and then paste it right here, and now it will take this condition, and if this is true, then we're gonna print the same message. But let's change a bit with it so that we can see if it's actually working or not. For example, let's say unable to maybe solve equation, just to see if it works or not. Equation, and Now, this is what this basically does is that it takes the if condition. If it's true, then it doesn't go over the code. It just skips it all. But if it's not true, then it doesn't go to the else. It goes to the elif here, and then so the elif is simply like a second try or a second condition for the if. So if the if is failed, then it goes to the elif. Now, if the elif is true, it's gonna run, and so like what you put here is gonna run, and this is just gonna be skipped. But if the elif is not true, then it just goes to the else and does everything else. So let's try now. So we enter the first number. Let's make the maybe if work. So maybe number 1 is greater than 100, like maybe 300, and then number 2 is 8. It's unable to solve the problem. Now let's try and make it fail. So maybe like let's try and make the condition of elif. So maybe 7, then 800. Still not gonna work because it takes the condition of elif, and here, as you can see, it says solve equation. That means it's actually working. Now the else still works, so maybe you type 8 and 9. It will add them together because the else works, and none of these have actually been true. Now you can actually use booleans in these. So maybe if we like maybe try a new program, like let's just comment that out, and then I'm gonna show you new program. So maybe like over here, we wanna type a program that's like about light on and off. So maybe let's type on. Let's just set it to true right now. This boolean. Now don't forget here in the true that it needs to be a capital letter at the beginning, true and false. So on equals true maybe. Now we're gonna type an if statement. So I'm gonna type if, and here is where you might like using not. So if maybe on is equal to true. Sorry, just right there, just like this. On. Then maybe we're gonna print. Let's print light is on. Maybe light is on. Okay. Now, what if we have it off? So maybe we're not gonna use the else right now. We're gonna use the elif. Now, I forgot to tell you that you can actually have an if statement is only if and elif. You don't need to have else, but else is just like for if you want to run like three. If you have like 3 cases, then you can use the else. You can use multiple elifs in the code, so maybe like if elif and then another elif, it's okay. So if on equals false, then colon, then we're gonna print light is off. And let's actually set the on, and let's set it to false now to see if it actually works or not. Now let's run, and we see that at the beginning the light is on. Now I don't think this serves anything, so we'll just move it. And over here, let's change it to false and see if it works. So light on equals false. Oh, sorry, on. Oops, sorry. I'm confused with the code, but yeah, here we need to fix it here. So false, like this, and then we're gonna run the code. So light is off, you see that the if is not working, but the elif is working. Now let's try another code. Let's try with the number. Num equals 1, say. And then we have if. Let's have if num is equal to 1, then print 1 maybe. And what we could actually do also is print the variable num, because we're just gonna print the value, so just gonna print num faster. And elif, maybe num is equal to 2, then we're gonna say print num again. And then we can actually type another elif instead of typing an if, or sorry, else. We can use another elif, just like this. And then we're gonna say num is equal to 3. Then we can print out num again. And we can also do, or you can forget about it. So let's just see. So if we run it, you see it prints out 1 because num is 1. Now let's change it to 2 maybe. 2. Now print out 2. Let's change it back to 3 maybe. It's 3. Now what if we like type 90? You see it doesn't print out anything because we haven't done a condition that it could print out 90. So for that, you can just type an else and then print num. Now, no matter what number you type, it's still gonna print out num. So you won't really need all these elifs in this case, but it was just an example to know that you can actually use multiple elifs in a statement, but you cannot use multiple else's or if. So just like if and else are the opening and closing, and elifs are just like the middle parts of the statement. So this is it for the if statements and booleans. I hope you've understood what are if statements and the parts of it. I hope, and if you like the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys soon.